Hey Humboldt, today's lesson is going to be on telling time. You can do this work on a piece of paper with a pencil, or if you have access to the third grade math packet, you can find this on pages 54 through 59, like this. So we're just going to remind ourselves how to tell time. We do 3 steps when we tell time. First, we read the minutes. We always read the minutes first for those tricky ones where it's about to be the next hour and the minutes are really close to the next hour. So here on this clock, when we read our minutes first, it helps us choose the right hour, because when our minutes are up here in like the 45, 50, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, we know that it looks really, really close to the next hour on the clock, even though it's actually the hour before. So we're going to review that right now. We read the minutes first. Minutes count by 5s, and then if you need to, you count by 1s. So we know that minutes count by 5s on all the big numbers. So like that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, which we call o'clock on the clock. That's at the 0 minute mark. And then we also know that each of these little notches in between, which is easier to see on this clock, are 1 minute. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. So when we say we count by 5s, then 1s, we mean that we count the hops and then we count the little notches if we have to. So to tell our minutes on this very first clock, we'd count by 5s all the way to our last 5s number, then we'll count by 1s. So here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Now if I go to 40, I'm too far. So I'm going to stay at 35 and I'm going to count by 1s. 36, 37, 38. I see my minutes are at 38. Sorry for being messy. And I know that when I read my minutes first, I got 38 minutes. Okay? And now I need to think, which hour makes sense? So which hour is it? How many? It's 38 minutes past which hour? We can also think, what o'clock will it be next? It needs to be the hour before that. So when I look at this clock, like we said, when the minutes are up here, it gets really tricky sometimes. Right now, our hour hand looks like it's between the 3 and the 4. Between the 3 and the 4. That means it's past 3 o'clock, and it is not yet 4 o'clock. It's between 3 and 4. We can see it. Our brain tells us that it's 3 something because it's past the 3, it's not at the 4, so it's 3 something. And we already know it's 38. So on this clock, it's telling us it's 3:38 because it's 38 minutes past 3 o'clock. If we were to say 4:38, that wouldn't make sense because it hasn't even turned to 4 o'clock yet. It is still 3 something. It's 3:38. When we tell the time, it's going to be at that 3:38. You don't have to put a 0 here, but they have a blank for it. You could just write 3:38. Now, when we do look at a clock that is much closer in these higher minutes, that's where I'm talking about I don't want you to get tricked. When I glance at this clock, it looks like this might be touching the 9. But when I tell time, I don't start with the hour. I read the minutes first. That way I won't get tricked. So if I read my minutes first, I'm going to hop around by 5s and figure out where I am. Some of you already know this number on the clock. Let's make sure. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And I don't have to hop because I'm on the 50. So this minutes is at 50. Now I need to think about which hour makes sense. Sorry that I'm a little blurry here. Which hour makes sense? Okay, so now let's think. Which hour does make sense? Well, I'm between the 8 and the 9, which means it's not yet 9 o'clock. This is not turned to 9 o'clock yet. In 10 minutes, it will be 9 o'clock, but it is not yet 9, which means this hour hand already passed the 8. It was 8 o'clock. It went all the way around, and now we're at 8:50. It is still 8 something. It is 8:50. And in 10 minutes, it'll turn to 9 o'clock. That's why the hour hand's getting so close to 9, but it is not 9 yet. Now, this problem is actually asking you to do more work than that, and it already told you the time was 8:50. So let's just review work when it's asking you to do something with the time. It says that Kim is practicing for her talent show. She spends 47 minutes practicing, so that's like our elapsed time. When she finishes practicing, the clock reads 8:50. Okay, so this is when she finished. What time did she start? They're looking for a start time. We know that for elapsed time, we have to write the start, the elapsed, and the end. And in this case, they told us the end time is 8:50. They told us the elapsed time is 47 minutes. And they don't tell us the start time. We have to figure that out. We know that when we have an end time, we have to go backwards on the clock to get to the start time. Because you always start and then go on the clock to your end time. So if you're starting at your end time, you're going to have to go backwards on the clock to get to that start time. So you should be thinking how many minutes we need to move backwards on our clock. They told us 47, so we're going to think about 47 minutes ago. I'm going to use my clock to hop. 5 minutes backwards, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and I have to go 47, so 45, 46, 47, and I'm on this little notch right here. So if I imagine my minute hand is no longer here and it zoomed all the way backwards to here, and that I'm still near my 8 o'clock because my hour hand is still in the 8, it was 8 o'clock a few minutes before this, I can see what time I started. I started at 8 because I haven't passed my 12 yet, so I didn't go back into the 7 o'clock time. I'm still in my 8 o'clock hour. I'm still in these 60 minutes. I went back 47 minutes. And now I'm at not 8 o'clock, but 8:01, 8:02, 8:03. I think I started at 8:03. Now, if I want to check